Hello, YouTube! My name is Scott, and I just got around to watching Cobra Kai. Season 4, Episode 3, going off the title of the last episode, is called Then Learn Fly. I guess they were really into the whole broken English thing. So, Johnny and Daniel decided to switch things up. Granted, through a little montage we see at the beginning, they are apparently much more friendly now. They even kind of have a handshake. But Daniel will be teaching Eagle Fang, and Johnny will be taking on Miyagi-Do. And the difference in their teaching styles is immediately apparent. See, Daniel has all the Eagle Fang guys out at the koi pond, trying to get them to catch fish with their bare hands. Meanwhile, Johnny's taken all the Miyagi-Do kids to the top of a building and told them to jump from the roof onto the roof of an adjacent building. Needless to say, they're not really down with that whole thing. Yeah. He can't talk anyone into it. He tries talking to Sam, who gives, just as good as she gets, reminding him, basically where he is in life. And I would say he gives her an inspirational speech. It's not really that much of an inspiration, but it is enough. Because Sam goes and jumps off the roof and pulls off a landing that should be absolutely impossible. It's kind of reminiscent of that one scene in The Matrix where, Morpheus is trying to get Neo to jump from building to building. It's not that far away, but it's clearly far away enough so that when you look at it, you're like, no, I know that gravity's a thing. That is not going to work. But it's TV, so it does. And Sam's all more confident and believes in herself, which is great. That's absolutely going to come in play later. Meanwhile, Miyagi-Do lessons are interrupted by the fact that I almost think this takes place over a couple of days. It's in the middle of... Oh, maybe not. In the middle of it, Miguel's mom calls him and says her car's out of commission. And Daniel offers to fix it and gives him a ride to LaRusso Auto. And I feel like I really should have mentioned before this, there was an earlier scene where they had dinner at the LaRusso house, and both Daniel and Carmen seemed a little too hands-on with what their kids were going to do, once they left high school. Like, at this point, Miguel's just worried about how, the LaRussos might not think he's good enough for Sam. Because, she can go to basically any college. He wants to go to Stanford, but can't afford it. But, at LaRusso Auto, and really throughout the episode, because it's going to come into play in a little bit, Daniel goes over, his whole history with Miguel, about how he had a college fund and blew it to go to Okinawa, the whole plot of Karate Kid 2. But fortunately, due to the whole ice-breaking thing, he came back with more money than he had, but then he decided to open a store to sell bonsai trees, and that didn't work out either. Just trying to get Miguel to realize, his path wasn't a straight line, and Miguel's path doesn't have to be. But first, Miguel is going to learn how to change the serpentine belt on his mom's car. Then back at the dojo, Miguel gets this idea for catching a fish, because, oddly enough, it's kind of hard to do with your hands. Everybody gets into the water and goes around slowly in a circle, and they maneuver the fish under the balancing board. I don't know what it's called, otherwise I would say. And Miguel grabs a fish. And Daniel's all happy and puts a sweatband on Miguel, like the one he's wearing on his head, just as Johnny's walking back in with Eagle Fang. So there's going to be some resentment building there, so that's great. Pardon me. I'm not feeling that well. I was really sick yesterday, and it's not much better today. But please bear with me. Because now we got to go over and take a look at the Cobra Kai side. Specifically, Kenny. Wow, I almost forgot his name. Kenny wants to join Cobra Kai. He wants to go talk to Robbie because Robbie knows his brother. But his audition, as it were, doesn't work out very well because he's afraid. I mean, Kreese had Kyler spar with him. You know, this kid who's come to Cobra Kai because he's being bullied, let's have him go up against a bully who knows karate. Yeah, that's a good idea. It doesn't work out, and Robbie goes to Kenny's house. He found the address because Kenny left his backpack behind. And he offers to teach him some stuff. Just a little bit, because he's supposed to be focusing on the Valley. But anyway. So Robbie realizes that Kenny's pretty fast, and he tells him to use the speed to his advantage. So he comes back into Cobra Kai, wanting another shot, and at first he does run away from Kyler again, but then he just hauls off and smacks him. And apparently this is good enough for Kreese, who's all about striking first, and, striking when your opponent's back is turned. And that's Kenny's little arc for the day. But the thing that got me, Terry Silver came back. Apparently to tell Kreese that, he knew Kreese had been playing mind games with him to convince him to come back. But, he had this flashback to Vietnam, and the whole thing where, Kreese saved them all from imprisonment, and he said, basically they were together, or he would do anything he wanted to do. Terry had his back for life. So they have a confrontation, and then Terry goes home again. While he's looking in the mirror, he has another flashback. It turns out that when Kreese got his Cobra tattoo, Terry got one too. He's had it removed since then, but when they had them done, Terry was talking about how his dad wanted to disown him if he didn't give up karate and forget the whole Vietnam thing. Like, Vietnam vets can actually forget Vietnam. But of course, this is in time before they knew PTSD was a thing, so big surprise. And the last you see of Terry is him grabbing a hair tie and tying his hair back so he looks the way he did in Karate Kid 3. And at this point, I was just asking myself, seriously? I don't want to disparage the experience of any Vietnam veterans, okay? But Kreese came along and reminded Terry of one of the worst times in his life, when, in his own words, he was torturing a teenager to win a karate tournament while mostly high on cocaine. And somehow, Kreese comes back and says some things to him, and he's like, you know what? I'm going to return to that part of my life, because that seems like a good idea. Not this whole thing where I'm, retired and happy and successful in what I'm still assuming is Malibu, but maybe it isn't. I don't know. No. I'm going to go back to the karate dojo in the strip mall where I went through some of the worst possible times of my life, right before I hit rock bottom. What kind of hold does Kreese have over people? Look, I get it. He saved him from imprisonment in a POW camp, but there's got to be a line somewhere, right? And again, I've never been a soldier. Maybe I just don't understand. But anyway, that's how I feel about it. What do you guys think? Leave a comment down below, like the video, share it around, subscribe if you're so inclined, hit that bell icon below for notifications when another video goes up. And until next time, I have been Scott, and this has been Just Got Around to Watching, an offshoot of opinions no one cares about. Everyone has opinions. This one was mine. Hi, me again. I just thought I should probably add the part where Johnny finally went and admitted his feelings for Carmen, and she was down with it, even though it was right in front of what looks like her mother's bridge club. So, Johnny's character growth is coming along nicely, and I really wish I'd remembered that before I finished shooting that other clip. So, I'm just gonna tack it on the end here. Bye.